All right, so our recording has started. Welcome to the PBO draft analysis. I am the champion of Unova Season 3, the Alabama Alakazams. My name is Ben, and I am joined by the commissioner, owner of the PBO organization. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is Soaring Flying. Has been your site commissioner at PBO. We're here to review the Unova conference and see how well they drafted, in our humble opinion.
Yeah, of course, this is just what we think. We're not, definitive uh, judges out there. We're not arbiters of whether your team will fail this season or not. Obviously, we can only give our own opinion. All right.
So would you like
So,
to start off with Abbotsford?
yeah, we'll start off with the Abbotsford Argonauts, the champion of season 2 of the PBO. So, you got to always
Mm-hmm.
trust that he knows what he's doing when he's drafting. Um, so, first round, he went Annihilate. I think Annihilate is a pretty good Pokemon in draft, obviously without Terra. This is a point I'm probably going to hit on with a bunch of teams. Without Terra, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon lose value, and Annihilate is 250 points. I know he wanted it really bad though. He thought it's something he was kind of going for this season. I've talked to Weavile or Abbotsford now Agrons a lot, so I kind of know his thought process in battles, and I trust that he can use this thing in its main role, which is kind of to be a tanky, strong hitter who can still fill many roles, a glue piece, if you will, that has the potential to sweep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he won this last season, Annihilate, but then just stuck with season two he stuck with Backs, and season three he went with Haxorus.
He had treads
So it's
last
nice to
one.
see him, yeah, and then Treads. So it's nice to see him get him on he wanted to use and see how he can plan around that. And when
Yeah,
you look at the team, Annihilate, Morgan Screens, I don't know how fast you want to go through this team. I'm just looking at my media. Annihilate behind Morgan Screens.
yeah.
This is Cyclizar, no Shed Tail, so keep that in mind.
I think he definitely wants to get a few Annihilate sweeps because of Morgan, but also because of Samurott. Samurott Hisui can set up spikes. It's probably the best, except maybe Gliscor now in OU. But it's Samurott Hisui is a really really good spike setter because of Ceaseless Edge. So he can kind of get all the hazards up. Gastrodon can also set up spikes now, and then bring Annihilate in, and he can start bulking up and rage fisting, and pretty much going as ham as he possibly can.
And the Delphox Terror Captain for Fire, Fairy Grass.
Yeah,
I don't see a lot of Delphox use, and plus a yellow tier Terra is very rare in this league because oranges are just better. Green and blue you get two. So Fire Fairy Green, I don't know the tech, but I'm excited to see what he has to pull out with this.
yeah, it's something that was used in other leagues I've seen before. So because it becomes a fast fairy type as well, which can be very very useful. Because his other fairy type is Morgrim, which is obviously
Mm-hmm.
that can be a bit problematic if you have to bring Morgrim every week for your fairy. This team is very fast. If you notice, it has Kilowattrel, Scyther, it has Delphox, it has Cyclizar, and it has Grafaiai, all breaking, I believe, 110 speed or higher. So you could pretty much run like 4 or 5 Mons one week that are all really really blistering fast if you wanted to. Because he has a lot of switch potential. He can use U-turn on Cyclizar, Volt Switch on Kilo, U-turn again on Grafaiai. Scyther he can U-turn, so he can be doing a lot of Volt turning, and his Cyclizar will regenerate health because of that. So I think his main plan is just to switch around a bunch, put some hazards up, and then wait for the perfect opportunity to get Annihilate in, and then go to town from there. I really like Gastrodon as a bulky water. It does not get Scald though, which is unfortunate.
Mm.
I wish that they gave it back Scald and it would be much much better. But it does get Spikes, so and it gets Recover still. So I like that as a good bulky water to have in the back. Overall, I would say this is a strong team from someone who I know can play it strong.
Yeah, a very competitive player. One season two made it to playoff. Season three didn't quite get to semis.
No,
And then the last point to touch on what
he got to semis, but he was auto in semis.
he did.
Yeah, it was.
That's right. Auto in semis. First seed got there and then lost in semis. And then just the point, Scyther, great pig, great steel pick in green. Maybe it should be higher, arguably. And then the final, you can see the draft really going his way until the last 2 rounds in 10 and 11. Berserker, I guess, just to fill in a steel type.
Yeah, he needed a steel.
And then Leafeon is.
Berserker's probably.
You didn't have to get the Leafeon.
I imagine Leafeon is for Wish. Leafeon gets Wish, right? As all the EVs do, I assume.
I think so, yeah, Wish Protect. Yeah. Okay.
I assume it's for Wish passing because he wanted a Wish Pokemon, and it's literally just roll fill is what the Leafeon and Berserker are, I feel like. Berserker is probably, because like, I've been looking at, I look at the draft boards for my draft. It's the last steel type that you can draft that could do something. You know what I mean? It's the last line of getting a steel type that could hit a move and be effective hitting the move. Because after that, the steel types are all kind of, it's like you get to the 30 pointers and all the steel types there are like unevolved or bad. So I don't see Berserker coming that much, but he needed a steel type. It's a stealth rocker out of it. He doesn't actually have a lot of stealth rockers. He has spikes, but I think his only stealth rockers are Annihilate and Berserker. If I go over to this thing that I have that shows his team, so as you can see, he has a lot of good speed, a lot of really really fast Pokemon, and Gastrodon. That'll probably be what Gastrodon does is stealth rock, and then the Spiker will probably be Samurai Hisui. Samurai Hisui will probably be the Spiker, and Gastrodon job will be to set up stealth rocks, I imagine, on a week to week basis.
Yeah,
so, but his team doesn't have weaknesses. Fairy, but he has some. Has some ice problems. Ice seems to be it was common last season. That's why and I'm assuming it was common in season 2. That's why Baxcalibur is always so effective. Ice kind of gets forgotten about, and then teams have an ice weakness. But all in all, I'd say this is a really, really fast team that's looking to kind of blitz you down and get you chipped, and then bring Annihilate in and hopefully pick up a few kills. I'd say that's probably the strategy going in, with Morgrim, with Cyclizar, with all this switch control. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I think it sets Annihilate up for success, for sure.
He would definitely be a top of the Black Division.
Threat.
Which, on top of the White Division, expecting Frederick Klefkes. You want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on to the Frederick Klefkes, another staple of the PBO, another team staple. He's been in it since, I don't know how long, but he did really good last season. Yeah, he did really good last season, and I'm assuming he did really good in season 2 as well. So he's got a very interesting team for sure.
Garchomp, yeah, this team started off when he first drafting it looks a little bit different than it did now. Had a Politoed and
he had like semi-rain, like nothing that really took advantage of rain other than Ludicolo, but he had a Politoed anyways. In Grace, luckily, Paldea Aqua Tauros was dropped. So then it managed to get picked up by him basically, I think, 2 seconds after it got dropped.
Yeah,
because he
quick.
Wanted it really, really bad. So he's rocking the double water Greninja Paldea Tauros, which makes sense. One of them bulky, one of them offensive. Although Tauros can be offensive. I ran Paldea Blaze season, and I ran Scarf Paldea Blaze, I think, 3 times. So, I mean, that's a good chunk of the games of the season. You know what I mean? Like, a good chunk of the games, it was probably 60-40 I ran defensive to offensive. So it
gets Intimidate, right?
Yeah, it gets Intimidate. So Intimidator to have. And it can be a wall. Test to Greninja's prowess. Greninja's amazing in Draft League. I think it's probably the best Pokemon we allow in Orange for sure. That or Meow, I'd imagine. I think Vikavolt really good. Another Pokemon he picked up in Grace Period because it got dropped. Because Vikavolt has Levitate and he can Terra Electric it has no weakness, which is nice. It would have no weakness if he Terra Electric to Vikavolt. It also gets Sticky Web. It can run Agility. I think Vigavolt's very, very big pickup. He got it in Grace. He has coughing. Any comments on that?
he was telling. He sent me. Actually, I'll read out a DM. This is my comment on his DM. He sent me. He said, 252 attack choice band. So adamant choice banded technician scissor bullet punch versus max defense Evilite coughing has a 0.7 chance to 3-hit KO.
Okay, so
that's my comment.
The guy who has Sizzler should look out for this coughing. So this team's interesting. I think he opens himself up to a little bit of predictability of running the same 6 Pokemon. So he went kind of top and he got 3 reds. A lot of people got 3 reds, and the 3 red guys almost always have 10 Pokemon. So he's got Clefable, Heatran, Garchomp, which is really good, especially 2 generations ago. But still now it's really, really good. And obviously Clefable is annoying. Heatran can Magma Storm. Garchomp can set up spikes now, which is nice. An issue I'm running into a little bit is the idea of Volibee and Coughing coming to a game at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they're defensive enough to take hits for a long period of time in the game.
And I believe Volibee is his hazard control, because I think it gets defog.
It does get defog.
I think that's his hazard control. We probably should have talked about our hazard control of Nightmare, which I also think isn't the great. It's Cyclizar. That's actually pretty good. So, the Klefkis has Volibee as hazard control. Mesprit, I think, is underrated. I think Mesprit's very good, very versatile. I think it's a nice Pokemon to Terra Fairy. Although Clefable is a strong Fairy type to begin with, so you could Terra Ghost it, because I don't think he has a Ghost if I'm looking. He does not.
He has Terra Ghost.
Serena gets Rapid Spin. I'm stupid. It's Serena. Serena is his Rapid Spinner. I wasn't paying attention there for a minute. Yeah, so he's going to probably bring Serena almost every week, I imagine, unless he decides Volibee's viable. Unless he decides he doesn't want hazard control. So I have a feeling Garchomp, Greninja, Heatran, Clefable, and Serena are going to be seeing the field a lot. And then the 6th spot is kind of going to be interchanging. The 2 Terras, Paldea, Aqua. I think Greninja can, I sat Greninja a few weeks. Greninja can sit a few weeks. And maybe, I don't know. I have a hard time.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. I sat Greninja a few weeks, but you probably shouldn't. I kind of regret the weeks I sat Greninja, because Greninja's pretty good. I mean, he's amazing. He's incredible. So I find this team, do you remember the Pittsburgh Steelix of last last season?
I remember all 3 to 4 weeks of them, yeah.
Yeah, so they brought the same 6 Pokemon pretty much every week. And they were good 6 Pokemon. I hope that Frederick doesn't fall into that line. You know what I mean? I hope that doesn't happen. And I think it won't. I think he has 8 viable Pokemon and then a Coughing and a Volibee. You know what I mean? So and that's pretty much what I ran last season. It was 8 viable Pokemon and then a Rabsca and a Stonejourner. You know what I mean? So it can work. As long as they're a strong 8 and you know what you're doing, which I believe he fully does know what he's doing. I think this can definitely work. We will see. He had to dig himself out of a little bit of a hole with the Politoed. I think he got sniped. I mean, I can't confirm this because I haven't talked to him. I think he wanted Politoed Poliwrath. I'm not 100%.
Oh, the Poliwrath was on a lot of people's draft boards.
Yeah. I
would not be surprised if he even dropped Serena or, God forbid, Heatran to fill out 11 Mons, maybe get better to trade out Coughing and Volibee as well at some point in time, because I don't see Coughing, Volibee to stay on this team for all 8 weeks. And let's watch closely to one of these red Mons possibly being dropped.
Yeah, one of the reds. I would think about Garchomp maybe.
Yeah, that was a very just looking at the draft order, I can pull that up where he was in the thing. I would like to think that there were still better Mons than Garchomp on the board at that point, but I'm not sure.
We'll see.
I'm not sure.
It's hard to doubt him given his results last season. So
Oh yeah,
I'll expect that he does good. I think the draft could be better. I think he knows it could be better too, because he was talking about it, and that's why he made so many. And that's why he made so many changes. But I do like the Garchomp, Heatran, Clefable core, and I think that'll come most weeks. And if he plays those three correctly, I think he could end up winning most matches anyways. So Volibee, I think Volibee could probably make an appearance one week. I have a hard time seeing Coughing make an appearance, is the main thing. But
it is very odd, man.
If he wants to make it, does Coughing get neutralizing gas?
No.
No.
I'm pretty sure no.
So if he wants to make it work one week, we'll see if he can. I think the competition this season is definitely upped. So and everyone has slightly better Pokemon, because I think even though the points of the Pokemon went up, the point total went up a little bit, like in comparison still. So everyone has slightly better teams overall. So I think it leads for Pokemon like Volibee and Coughing to being brought less, because they can't go against these kind of monstrous Pokemon as much. But
it does get Levitate or Neutralizing Gas now as of Gen 8 and onwards.
Yeah. All right. So I'm pretty mixed on the team, but I do believe in the person. I believe in the player. For sure.
That's a really good way of putting it. So, we'll probably say that. We'll probably say that a good chunk about some of these players.
So let's move on to Malamar.
Malamar, a contender, a unexpected contender from last season.
Yeah, the New York Malamar made it all the way to the finals last season with a team that I think was very unique in that it didn't really have great typings, but it had great synergy. So it had Rillaboom to activate Sneasler and to make Meowscarada's Flower Trick more powerful. And also the Aggressive Surge made it so Earthquake did less damage to Slowking Galar, and Slowking Galar could Chilly Reception out to Meow and Sneasler to get them in for free. So it was really good synergy, but it was 2 poisons and 2 grasses. So I think Malamar is a guy who goes for synergy over all else, and I think that's kind of seen in this team. I really, really thought about drafting Iron Moth. I think Iron Moth is a little slept on in draft slightly. I think it has a nice speed tier. I think it's really, really strong. It is, and it gets like Energy Ball and Dazzling Gleam. It can have a nice moveset. It can run sub. It's definitely not the most versatile Pokemon, and it is a red 230. But that is, it's not maxed like it was in Season 3. It's not like a max value Pokemon, so you can get a pretty strong special attacker that hits, fairies really, really well. It hits steels very, very well, which are 2 very, part of a massive defensive core, Fairy Steel, with 1 Pokemon. So I'm pretty impressed with an Iron Moth pick. I think Iron Moth can work for sure.
Yeah, this team looks the same way. I see, like, it looks kind of fast. Meowscarada, Moth is like,
Moth is 110, and it can also get a
I was just say Meow, Iron Moth. I mean, Weavile. We can even look at how fast is Delibird.
Delibird's like 75, I believe.
Really, I thought it was faster.
Yeah.
And then at the same time with these 3 like very speedy, very hard hitting mons.
Yeah.
You have Girder, Knucklestack, you have Wish Pass, Almola, you have Snorlax, which kind of looks to do the same as Avalugg did last season, I like to imagine.
Yeah, his
like the Terra, the low tier Terra.
I think Knucklestack is a really, really good Terra. I think Knucklestack is a very underrated Pokemon in this team because it can Terra. We allow it to Terra, so it gets Salt Cure, it gets Recover, it gets all the stuff that Garganacl gets, and we let it Terra. I think Knucklestack should come to a lot of games, and it should put in a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. I think Knucklestack was a very huge pickup by the Malamars.
I mean, he has 2 Evilite ones.
Yeah, he's got 2
Knucklestack and Girder.
Knucklestack and Girder. So Knockoff is probably going to come his way, I imagine. He has Alomomola to eat knockoffs. That'd probably be the switch in. If you're going to get knocked off, it's probably going to be your Alomomola for its Rocky Helmet or leftovers or boots, whatever you're running.
And what does Sinistra do in yellow tier?
Sinistra Calm Minds. I believe Iron Defenses. It sets up a bunch. It can also run Matcha Gotcha to get burns, and that also heals 50%. It's pretty good. It's a very annoying Pokemon, I would say. The most threatening sets are the setup sets, is what I would say, for sure. I think he could bring setup a good amount. I think if he made that his Terra, that could have been cool, because then he could set up even more with it, but then Knucklestack wouldn't be good, so I think ultimately he probably made the right decision. But Sinistra would definitely do more work if it was his Terra. But I do like Sinistra, although he does have 2 grass types because of it. 2 grasses, 2 waters, and he's just rocking with it. I think this is a pretty good team. I don't know if it's, amazing. I don't think it has the synergy that he had last year, but I think it's good. I definitely don't think it's bad, and I do think the Malamars do a good job in their games of clicking the right moves at the right time and making sure that they come out with a victory. Whiscash can set up Stealth Rocks and Spikes for him like it did all of last season. Alomomola is a Regenerator Mon. Girder is his hazard removal. It gets defog, and I think it's his only... Oh, he has Delibird with Rapid Spin. So his hazard removal is kind of weak. So he should fear Spikes and Stealth Rock, probably. He probably was going to run Boots on his Alomomola a few times, because unless he's bringing Girder or Delibird, probably Girder, I'd imagine, would be the one he brings with defog.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be running into some trouble. I'm because they got rid of a bunch of Pokemon with defog, Hydreigon can't defog anymore, and freaking there's so many Pokemon that can't defog. I'm surprised they still let Girder and Conkeldurr defog.
Yeah, that is beyond me how that works.
They wave their steel beam or their big rock pillars, and
they spin it so much. It's strong enough wind. I'm looking. This team has really fire weakness, right? Or am I crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, it has Alomomola, it has Whiscash.
Yeah, they've got those two, but other than that, yeah, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon weak to fire, and so they're gonna probably bring Alomomola every week, I imagine, to deal with fire types. So if there's a fire type with a grass move like Fire Pond that no one has, so I guess that's not an issue. But just a Volcarona, a fire type with grass coverage, you know what I mean? Then that could be an issue. Or a fire type with electric coverage. But Knucklestack could, I guess, deal with fire types. It can Terra Water. So there's that.
Yeah. I don't know what Fairy Knucklestack does, and I don't know how Snorlax with Flying Ghost. Well, I know how Snorlax with Terra Ghost works, but Terra Flying and Terra Fairy Knucklestack is beyond me.
Terra Fairy Knucklestack is for fighting types, I'm pretty sure. So should we move on to Shadows?
Yeah, Kingston repping it in Unova this season.
Okay.
Wanted to come up from Kalos into Unova, and
I'm not gonna lie.
Just backs behind screens, baby.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm biased. I think this team's really, really, really good. I think this is probably the best, if not at least top 3 of the drafts. Back Slowking is always going to be a killer pair. Chilly Reception into backs, it gets it snow. So insanely nasty. Klefki for the screens and spikes to help backs out. Sneasel Hisui. This team's kind of slow, so I could see why he wanted to pick up Sneasel Hisui for the speed at least. Make people be honest about their speed tiers a little bit. If they want to outspeed the chance of Sneasel Hisui coming, you have to put a little bit of speed in. You know what I mean? Because everything else is kind of slow. Go-Go is pretty good. Go-Go's a pretty good bulk upper. It gets Milk Drink. It gets Horn Leech. It's a pretty decent discount grass type. Volcarona and Lando T and Quaquaval. Quaquaval's a killer rapid spinner. I don't really think I need to explain how good those 3
so top heavy.
Yeah, this is a very top heavy team. This team has 6 really good Pokemon, and it kind of like Pittsburgh last season, or We just talked about Frederick. You can kind of
Mm-hmm.
guess the 6 that are going to come. Bax, Slowking, Klefki, Volk, Lando, Quay, right? That you're kind of guessing that those 6 are going to come most weeks. And then he's going to sprinkle in one of the other 4, like, on a week-to-week basis. You can kind of slot those 6 in and then guess maybe one of the 4 replaces one of them. I don't think Bax and Slowking are ever not coming. It would be very difficult for that to not be something that comes. I have a hard time imagining Quick Wobble not coming since that's his rapid spinner. I could
Is
see
Vespa
him.
Queen get defog?
Volcarona.
The Vespa Queen get defog.
Vespiquen. I believe it does not, but I would have to check
Ooh.
that.
Okay. And then Mischievous is here just for.
It's a ghost type. He needs a ghost
Yeah.
for blocking. It's there to be a Violite and bulky.
That's right.
Lando T, a little bit worse in draft than in like the ladder, but still very, very good. It's a good intimidator. It can be Scarf with U-turn. It can get you some momentum.
Are you surprised it fell that far?
Lando T. I'm not super surprised. I think it fell decently far last time as well. Sometimes it doesn't even get drafted in some leagues, from what I understand. But I do think it's valuable. I'm surprised Volcarona fell to the free. I think Volcarona's a tier 1 worthy, or like a round 1 worthy Pokemon, even without Terra. I'm big on Volcarona being good. I think Volcarona's good in draft. I think Volcarona's good with Terra. I think Volcarona's good without Terra. It's a killer fire type to have. And he's like, so he sets up screens, right? He goes Slowking, he chilly receptions, and then depending on what you have, he could go Bax or Volk, and you're like, you're like, fuck, dude, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like, he has 2 killer sweepers. Or Quick
Wobble.
These
mons, so if he sets up Snow, that means he can. Do any mons in Aurora Veil? Is that a possibility he can get?
I don't think he has
Aurora Veil in these ones
with, because Aurora Veil is like,
that'd be insane.
It's ice types only essentially, and it's very limited to ice. It's not Bax.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Frostmoth, Frostlass can Aurora Veil. I think.
Is that the Frostlass could take him?
What?
So I said if Frostlass didn't get taken, it's 80 points. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of points because it gets spikes and stuff, so it can be like a hazard kind of thing. But I do really, really like this team. It's a top-heavy team, but it works together. The six that we all think are going to come, even if it's a little predictable, the 6 that we all think are going to come are mesh. You know what I mean? I like the way they mesh. I like the way that they stand next to each other.
He's also no stranger to using special Lando T, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you can run special, Earth Power, probably like Air Cutter would be his air move. I don't think he gets Air Slash.
I think I remember Sludge Wave or something.
Yeah, Sludge Wave. Probably like Power Gem. I don't know if he gets that, but that would be the rock that would run. But yeah, I imagine to see the same 6 mons every week. Maybe Sneasel Hisui gets in there, maybe Go-Go. I don't see Vespiquen coming. That's out of the 4 obvious ones. I don't see Vespiquen the most.
I guess it's just a sack, or I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it does get
set up. Maybe it gets infestation. It can lock you into something. I don't know.
If it gets defog, you could defog with it. But I think you've been Quake Wobble with Rapid Spin every week, unless you're trying to sweep. But I that's my evaluation on the team. One of the best, I'd say.
Speaking of best teams, you want to talk about yourself a little bit?
Sure.
Or do you want to skip? Or do you want a separate video? What do you want?
I am going to do a separate video, but I'll talk about it briefly.
Okay.
So I went into this draft with a core of 3, really 2. My core was Slowking Galar, Tornadus Therian. I wanted a regenerator core. I wanted the U-turn, chilly reception, kind of slow, fast core to get in and out. So I was like, my first thought was, what takes advantage of that? Spikes, because then they're switching a lot to counter my switching, right? So I got Gliscor, who's probably the best spike setter in OU right now. I picked him first instead of Slowking Galar because I thought there was a chance Gliscor got taken round 1. It got taken
very
first
much so.
Overall in Kalos. So I was like,
it did.
So I was like, give me Gliscor. I want those spikes. I want a toxic things. I want to protect. Then round 2, I go Torn T, because I wanted that regenerator. It's really, really fast. It gives me a good speed tier. Round 3, Bramblegast. Bramblegast is a really nice spinner, and it also blocks spin, and it can also set up spikes. So it really helps my. I'm just gonna say I gotta get like a semi-stall. I'm not gonna lie, it's not stall. I would say
it does look that way.
It's like a semi-stall team with some attackers. It's semi-stall, semi-snow. SSSS, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Semi-stall, semi-snow. I've got Chilly Reception. Frostmoth is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I don't think I've told anyone that.
Dude,
I love Frostmoth.
That thing was on everyone's draft board, I feel like.
I love Frostmoth's design. I love it. It's Terra, and I love that it's actually viable now. Before, it was complete trash in Gen 8, sadly. I mean, you could run Quiver Dance, and it would be cool. But it wasn't super viable. But now, with the power of Terra, with the power of Snow giving you a defense boost, along with your Ice Scales giving you a Spadef boost, so you're a super tank, pretty much.
I was about to say the ability's broken as well.
Yeah, Ice Scales is broken with Snow now, so you're getting a physical defense boost in Snow, along with your Ice Scales. Dude, if this thing got Roost, Frostmoth would be outstanding. It would be incredible. Frostmoth, I'm really, really happy with it. I think it might, I don't want to call it now. I'm going to try and make it my kill leader this season.
Okay.
But I think Frostmoth, Slowking Galar, Chilly Reception, get a free Frostmoth in on whatever is out. And then they're kind of put into a bad position if the Frostmoth has a good, because I'm obviously bringing Frostmoth in on something it's good against. I get a sub or I get a Quiver Dance, and then I'm +1/+1/+1 in Snow, so my defense is also boosted. And they're kind of looking, what do I do? It's just a really hard situation to be in, especially if I have my spikes, especially if I have my Stealth Rock. That's the kind of situation I'm looking to create with this team. Electrode is really for speed. I was
going to say, it's just fast.
I needed something really, really fast. If a team doesn't have a ground type, or their ground type is like one of their weaker Pokemon, that's probably when it comes. Because you can kind of just Volt Switch around for free, and you get Chip, and they have to switch in, and they get the Spikes or the Stealth Rocks on them. Terra Fairy, Terra Ice, that's the basic fast electric ones.
Yep.
Milotic is my bulky water. It gets Scald, it gets Flip Turn, it gets
so
Recover.
Good.
It gets all the stuff you want for a bulky water. It fell. I thought I wouldn't get... I never got sniped, which was very, very nice in this draft. Milotic fell so far. I thought that was crazy. I thought Milotic
Me too.
I thought Milotic would have gone in the first round of Yellow. I just wanted Bramblegast really bad, because I know a lot of people wanted Bramblegast. So, I'm super happy I got it. I think Infernape is good.
No one really was looking at Infernape, surprisingly.
Yeah, I think
I would say you're the only one, I think.
Yeah. Infernape is it can be physical, it can be special, it's fast, it breaks 100 speed. I needed another fast Pokemon, something that could do potentially a little bit of breaking. It's not for being one of my main breakers, it has like base 105 attack and special attack, which isn't crazy. I think I could run Slack Off and Will-O-Wisp. I could run Stealth Rock. It's very versatile, which I like. Its versatility is probably its strongest suit. Clefairy is my fairy type. It's kind of like Volibee or Coughing.
Yeah, you have to grab one.
I needed a fairy. It's decent. It can go toe to toe with dragons if I'm maxing the right stat. If it's a special attacker and I'm maxing that stat, then I can go toe to toe kinda. And if it's a physical, like I was looking at Bax and like Icicle Crash, like +1 does like 45 or 50, and then I can Wish. So it's like, it's livable, it's manageable. I needed a fairy for sure, other than Electrode's Terra. So that's what I picked Clefairy for. It could also get Wish.
It does.
Sandslash Alola is a Rapid Spinner.
Sleeper in the snow.
Yeah. It's a Rapid Spinner, a Stealth Rocker, a Spiker, and it also sweeps in Snow. It's my fastest Pokemon when Snow is activated, I think, because it goes up to 130. It doubles. So
Jeez.
I'm a huge fan of being able to pick this up. It's my steel type. It's a offensive steel type. I probably won't use it as a wall. I can't imagine doing that very well because ice.
And with ice steel.
Yeah, ice steel. I have way too many weaknesses. But as a sweeper against certain teams, I feel like I could bring this thing and have a good time. And Quillfish Hisui, it's a dark type. It really rounded out my team nice. It gets all the hazards that I'm, again, kind of emphasizing with this team. A lot is
It's so
hazards.
good.
It gets Intimidate, which is really, really nice.
It's Eviolite on that
Yeah,
shit.
a Violite. I think
You can
overall,
wish into it. It's so nice.
yeah. So overall, I think I have a pretty solid draft. I think it's pretty annoying for teams to deal with. I do think um, I could get pressured by super strong Pokemon potentially. Because I'm running a lot of like bulky guys. I could potentially, if a Pokemon has like base 140 or 150 in like attack or special attack, have to do a lot of switching around. And my Pokemon themselves, like my highest attacking stat, I think is 115 attack on Bramblegast. So I'm not really hitting super hard. I'm kind of a wear down team. I'm toxicking. I'm getting hazards up. So that's probably my weakness, quote unquote. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, I would say.
I love. I mean, your team is easily top five. I mean, if not, I mean, there's Kingston, your team, and so far from what we've gone through. And Abbotsford, top three right now, easily. I mean, this team reminds me a lot of the Marble Falls team last season. Regenerative core, silly reception, gets out and gets its snow sweeper in position just to pick up with the rest of the kills. After it wears your team down.
Yep. That is the kind of the core of the team. Next is Worcester, who their what's it called aren't in here yet, but I believe it is Persian Alola and
Okay.
Vivillon. They're Terras.
Okay. I'll add those in.
So, oh,
What's up?
I just went up to the top for a second. All right, there we go. This team, I think, is solid. I think is the best way I could describe it. I like Great Tusk. I like Skeledirge. I don't love that Skeledirge isn't the Terra. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of when you scrap Skeledirge for that high of a points, I would say you have to give it Terror like Water Fairy,
Yeah,
like Ghost Water
Water
Fairy.
Fairy, Ghost, or even Fire, like Pure Fire. Um, I don't love that, but I do really like Florges with um, Jirachi. I love that steel fairy core going on there. I think that's good. He's got Diplin. What do you think about Diplin? Because I don't think I have very many nice things to say about Diplin.
Um, that's the thing. I haven't heard anything about Diplin. Like I don't see people using this mon. Does it get Eviolite?
Yeah, so
It
Diplin
does.
can
It
Eviolite,
does it gets Eviolite.
which is in-game spoilers. I guess they haven't revealed that it evolves at the time of this
Would you
recording.
would you believe it?
Yeah. Um,
I mean, we can.
I like Rotom Wash.
Its ability is kind of cool.
Yeah, it doesn't
Super
really
sweet syrup.
not. Yeah, I mean, I think Sticky Hold's actually probably even better in singles. Maybe if you want to hit Dracos, he has Ariados with sticky webs, so he can set up webs for his Tusk. Tusk is always a massive threat. He could set up webs for his Jirachi. He could run like Choice Band Jirachi and have webs up and then flinch everything, which is always a massive threat. Whenever you have Jirachi, you always have a chance. You know what I mean? You always have a pretty good chance to win when you have Jirachi.
Yeah, Serengeti Sriracha will always go insane.
I was looking at Persian Alola. Persian Alola has a nice speed tier. I believe it's his fastest Pokemon at 115. I want to say. Um, Florius Wish Passing. It's a really solid fairy. I believe when he drafted that, Sylveon was available, and I do think Sylveon's slightly better than Florges, or at least more versatile. but Florges does get like a it has the ability to tank hits slightly better, I think, because it almost
Gorgeous?
always Florges, I believe, is slightly better on the defensive end. I'm not 100% on that.
I thought Florges was especially defensive ball.
It is. They're both specially defensive, Florges and
Okay.
Sylveon. I think Florges might have slightly higher defense than Sylveon does. So I'm just trying to think why Florges would be picked over Sylveon. You know what I mean?
Sylveon, I'm looking at it. Florges, yeah. So Florges 154 spec defense and 68 defense, and Sylveon 130 special and 65 defense.
Yeah. So Florges is tankier a little bit, right? So there
But
is.
yeah, Sylveon has more HP.
Yeah, it does.
By a lot.
A lot more HP. Yeah.
95 to 78.
Yeah, they both do similar things. They wish, they protect. They go for Pheromones, Hyper Voice / Moonblast. Florges, I don't know if it gets aromatherapy anymore. I think that move's kind of been excommunicated from the game, if I remember correctly. I like Vivillon a lot. Vivillon,
I love Vivillon.
Vivillon gets basically 100%. I mean, we said 100%. He's going to miss it now this season. 100% accurate Sick Powders. It's basically like having Spore. It can Hurricane. He can Terra it, which is nice, because the guy who had it last season couldn't Terra it, and he still swept with Vivillon. So it's always a massive, massive threat to sweep, to do something massive. Slacking, I have a hard time seeing Slacking coming. Protect, stall Slacking permanently.
POV protect.
Yeah,
Florges does not get aromatherapy, by the way.
Yeah, no aromatherapy. So I think this team is good. I don't know if it's great. What do you think?
When I look at all these teams, the rest of the teams, I'm gonna be straight up. I think if there's a team to fall into Kalos, this would be a team to fall into Kalos.
Ooh.
Just straight up.
It's
straight up. Just straight. I want him to surprise me. I like Lemon a lot. He's stuck with us. But if there's a team to fall into Kalos, I would think this is a team. Because bottom 2, technically 3, can fall into Kalos now. And
I mean, I think he has strong Pokemon here, so as long as he can play wet, great Tusk can win you games.
The Tusk with Rebs, Rotom Wash is sick, Vivillon is sick. Dipplin has Recover. That's pretty cool.
I think of a week where he brings Tusk, Dirge, Florges, Vivillon, Rotom Wash, Jirachi. That's a pretty good team. That's kind of scary. That's scary to face. That's a scary team to come up against. So I like I said, Dirge together with Wash together with Jirachi. Dirge again is not Terra, which is unfortunate.
Crazy.
It's gonna get knocked, I imagine, now that Knock is back in session. But I think that's what we've got to say about this team for now.
Yeah, adding these Terras, you can keep going into Norwalk Noivern too. Hey, they went for it. They went for the snow. Kind of. Dare I say? But this team, I look at it and I go, this team is sick. I love the Ninetales. Like you said, in the over for the C-Type Belly Drum. Haxorus is always a scary mon. Uxie's, give it up for Uxie. Glomalola, I don't know what it does. Magnezone, Mug Special Defensive Wall. Chandelure is amazing. You can set up a sub, get behind it, and start throwing up. Really, whatever move you want. I forget which one is his Terra Captain yet. If he's sent it in,
he has not sent it in his Terra Captain, I believe. At least I haven't.
Tonk. fell this far. Steve, I mean, I'm surprised no one else picked it up.
Yeah.
Basculin does sing in Furret is Hazard Control, which is really funny.
Yeah, Furret gets tidy up now.
And it still has 10 points left. And tidy up is an amazing move.
Yeah, he still has.
But then again, I look at this team and I only see 6 Mons to 7 Mons really coming.
Yeah, so this team I think is cool. Definitely, I think this team is a cool team. I think in practice, it's kind of like his team last season. Throw as much offense at you as possible. Hit you as hard as possible, as fast as possible. Throw Barrascuda, throw Gudra, throw Enamoris, throw Hisui Electrode. This time he's got Magnezone. This time he's got Chandelure, Conk, Hax, Cetitan. But it's kind of the same idea. You know what I mean? Throw as much offense at you as possible to break through you. Plus set up, but this time set up Val, which is good because now all his guys will be taking less damage and he'll be doing a ton more damage. All his guys are so incredibly strong. Like he has like 4 guys above, like 4 or 5 guys above 130 in their like attacking stat. Haxorus is like 150 almost attack. Magnezone is 130 special attack. I think Chandelure has 135, and I think Conkeldur's like 140 attack. So those 4 are doing big damage. You know what I mean? But I worry a little bit about the hits that are going to be taken. I worry a little bit about hazards. His hazard control is his Conkeldurr having to run Defog or bringing a Furret. So that would be a slot that is basically there to do hazard control. And like
Furret feels like a waste of a slot if you have to bring it.
Yeah, you're doing, and then you're getting rid of hazards, and then you're throwing out like 1 double edge maybe. His team's very scary. I would say. This is who I'm facing week 1, so I have looked at this team in in a little bit of depth, but his team's very scary. He has a bit of a ground weakness. Golem Alola plus Magnezone plus Muck plus Chandelure, with no real way of stopping ground except for Uxie. Like he has no ground immunity except for Uxie.
Yeah.
He has no flying type. So I do think this team is good, and I do think it's scary, and I do think he'll succeed with it. Because, he can set up a belly drum with... Cetitan's getting at least 1... who knows? It might be against me week 1. Cetitan's getting at least 1 sweep, I think, this season. It's kind of hard not to when you have Veil plus the Snow. Plus, Alola's just the ultimate enabler of Cetitan. Hax will probably
Easily
get a sweep, I imagine, with Dragon Dance, because Ninetales is there.
You could even run sub.
Yeah, you can run sub. Uxie's really good utility, and it can also run that mystic move, the mystical magic or whatever it's called, that raises special attack now. Golem Alola can explode and do a lot of damage. He can set up rocks. He can hit for relatively good damage. Golem Alola is not bad. I believe he gets Volt Switch too. Mach can get rid of toxic spikes if need be, because those could be potentially disastrous for this team, I imagine. Chandelure and Conk are really, really strong, really good. But this team has no defensive backbone. It doesn't have like a wall core, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Similar to last season's team, it has a bunch of attackers and no recovery almost, from what I'm seeing. In fact, I don't.
And all mons that are bulky are blue tier Golem Alola, blue tier Uxie, green tier. I mean, Conk can take a hit.
Yeah,
that's why he's
they can take
super reliant on Alola Ninetales, because Hax ain't taking a lot of hits. Chandelure hell's not taking a lot of hits. Basculin's not. Furret's not. The zone probably can.
Imagine a game where he doesn't get his Val up. You know what I mean? Like it would. It would be interesting, to say the least. It would be
super reliant on Alola Ninetales. I mean, that's probably his lead every time, right? This Alola Ninetales.
Yeah, I mean, he could lead Uxie potentially, I imagine, and like U-turn into Alola Ninetales, or like Golem Alola set up rocks and then Volt Switch into Alola Ninetales, that kind of thing. He could do all that. Um, I think this team is definitely good, and I think he'll win games. I think he needs to play well, for sure. He needs to make a couple predictions every single game because the whole time, all damage that he takes is going to be pretty much permanent damage. He doesn't have mons to come in, soak a hit, and then heal that HP. So he has to play, predict games. He has to play out of his mind to really get the position he
Yeah,
needs to play.
I was this shout out to my mod Norwalk Neuverns. The skill ceiling has raised, and the question is, can he adapt? And I'm
Yeah,
confident
I think
that
he
he
can.
can.
He beat me week 1 last season. So I believe in his abilities for sure. I think this is it's very similar to last season, so he should be used. It seems like this is where he's comfortable. Is hyper offense, hit things hard, ask questions later. That seems to be his motto, his comfort zone. And if that's what he's good at, then I think you should stick with it because more than anything, the most important thing is to do what you're comfortable with in order to succeed. Like the most important thing is to find something that meshes with you, a style of play. And if that's what meshes with him, then hopefully he can pull it out. I think this team has the firepower for sure. Should we move on to the New York Knicks?
We should.
All right. This team's really, really good. This is a really, really powerful.
You think so?
I think this team's really good. The only thing that's kind of interesting about it is I think his fastest Pokemon is Dugtrio Alola at like 120. And his fastest real Pokemon, like something he'll bring on a consistent basis, is Ogerpon Wellspring at 110, which is a good speed, but not like blitzing. Like it's not like a 120 mon. You know what I mean? Or like in the teens.
Yeah.
So that could lead to some people like him having some speed issues. Potentially.
That's why he got Spite Ups, isn't it? That's why he got
He's got
Spite
Ups with webs, which is really good. He's got Ceruledge, who I think is outstanding and a little undervalued in our thing because Poltergeist is now a thing with Ceruledge. I think Ceruledge with webs with Poltergeist is going to be one of his best. I really wish he terrestrialized his Ceruledge. I love Ceruledge. I think it's a really, really good Pokemon for him to have. I think Hydreigon's also pretty good, especially with webs. Weezing, hazard control. It's a really nice fairy. It can set up toxic spikes itself.
Mm-hmm.
Electros, very versatile, physical or special. Can
Oh my
switch.
god. Yeah. We've seen Electros be annoying with coil sets or shoot AV.
Electros is
set up behind the sub. It's been annoying for teams that don't have a switch into it.
Electros is one of those Pokemon that's better in draft than in like whatever tier it's in PU because
Yeah.
it can run anything. It can be physical or special. It can be a physical wall, a special wall. The only thing it can't be is fast. It's the only thing you can't ask it to do. But other than that, like you can run it physically or specially on both sides, offensively and defensively. Its versatility is insane and it has no weaknesses, which is huge. It's a very strong Pokemon to pick up. Toadscruel is a very nice rapid spinner. He's got really nice hazard control in Weezing, Galar, Tatsugiri, and Toadscruel. He'll always have someone with hazards.
I mean, he's bringing back Tatsu from season 2. He's usually like get a rapid spin off and he just starts surfing, throwing out Dracos.
Yep.
And they just really go from there.
Bisharp, I think, fits this team pretty good because he needed a steel, if I'm looking correctly. Yeah, he needed a steel type.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how good Bisharp actually is as a Pokemon. It's kind of one-dimensional in my mind. It's Swords Dance or like maybe Black Glasses, and it has the Steel move and the Dark move. And maybe if you're going up against like I think when I went up against Bisharp with my Paldea Blaze, they ran Aerial Ace, I imagine.
Oh.
So like you could do that, but you kind of know what Bisharp's gonna do. So the question is, will the opponent be able to stop it? I don't know. Carbink is his fairy, but he can also fairy with Hydreigon if he wants to. I think Carbink's a pretty good value fairy. It can set up rocks, it can set up screens. It has clear body. It's decent.
It's bulky.
It's bulky. I think this team is good. I think this team is a pretty good team overall. I like the webs.
And Lowland Trail gets tangled hair, right?
Yeah, so that lowers speed as well.
Yeah, and Bisharp, even though like you don't need speed to be good, I mean you can run Eviolite, gets Eviolite, right? Eviolite
Yeah, you can run Eviolite because of
and it can just sucker punch things.
Yeah, he can sucker punch things. So yeah, he's definitely I think he's recognized that his speed is a little on the lower side.
For sure.
And that's why he has Spide Ops, and that's why he's doing what he's doing because he recognizes that. Like he's got Alolan Dugtrio, who I don't. Did he make any grace changes? I don't remember. I don't think so. Maybe
he did. That's where he got the Carbink.
Yeah, he got Carbink there. So I don't remember what he had before. I can't seem to recall.
It wasn't anything too memorable. I can pull it up if you like.
I think this team is solid. Like, it's an example of a really solid draft. I think Ogerpon Wellspring's very strong.
He had Probopass for Carbink, Tauros Paldea Aqua for Tatsu, which freed up points for him to add a Lowland Dugtrio.
Yeah, to get that tangled hair. And also to get a faster Pokemon, I think is what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that all makes sense to me. I think this is like an example of a really, I don't want to say standard,
solid.
But
just solid.
By the books, this is a draft that you look at and you're like, this is a good draft. You know what I mean? This is a team that can go out there on a week-by-week basis. He has, I'd say, 1, 2, 3, 4, because I think Electros can come almost weekly if you want it to. Spide Ops can come a good amount. 5, 6, 7, 8. He's got 9 or 10 Pokemon that I wouldn't feel bad bringing them. You know what I mean? I think bringing Dugtrio Alola could be whatever sometimes, but he's got a ton of Pokemon where it's like if I'm bringing this, I'm getting value out of this because Spide Ops with Sticky Webs is getting value immediately as long as you get them up. Like you're thinking
Marble Falls.
Yeah,
where you want to stay?
I think this is a solid team overall. We didn't talk too much about Ogerpon Wellspring. I think that Pokemon speaks for itself. It's really insane.
I'm excited to see how it does without Terra.
Yeah. All right, Marble Falls.
Another new guy, Unova, winner of Kalos.
Yeah, winner of the Kalos division, up in Unova.
Bringing heat.
They go undefeated again. I'm hoping not.
Yeah, right. That'd be insane.
Ursaluna Blood Moon, who I wanted so bad. I wanted him so bad, man. I think this thing is nasty. I think this thing is. It's probably slightly worse because you can't Terra. It's slightly worse in draft because it really realistically only runs 6 moves, but you really only need 6 moves. It could run Moonblast, but I don't see any point. It runs Earth Power, it runs Blood Moon, it runs Moonlight, it runs Calm Mind, it runs Vacuum Wave. Moonblast, potentially, maybe Hyper Voice if you don't want to use Blood Moon. But it's so incredibly strong. It's such a nasty breaker. It's always threatening you with Calm Minds. I can't wait to see what it does. I think this thing's going to be a menace, especially with Screamtail support.
Yeah, Screamtail. I'm afraid that one doesn't get picked more, in draft.
I think
at least in the drafts I've witnessed.
I think Screamtail is an incredible Pokemon. One of the best for sure. In the orange tier, when it comes to being just a pure support, Stealth Rock, Wish. You can protect if you want. You can, encore things if they're trying to set up. It's really, really fast. And because he's running Sun, it can get a boost without having the booster energy. It can get a Sun boost because it's a Paradox Pokemon Ancient Edition.
Yeah, he brought him Walking Wake during the grace period.
He changed this team to a Sun team post-grace, in the grace period.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And
he turned it into one of the best Sun teams
bold. You think this is better? Do you think the best you've seen in PBO?
I think this is the best Sun team I've seen in the PBO. The Sun team, it's got Ninetales, who's really fast. So if you look at all the Pokemon that take advantage of Sun, right? Charizard, Shiftry, Sandy Shocks, Walking Wake, Victory Bell, Screamtail. He's got so many Pokemon that take advantage of Sun. Now, what is the downside of that? you come across a Slowking or a Glowking or a Ninetales Alolan or a Politoed or a Pelipper, even though those didn't get drafted, and your Sun isn't up because they chilly reception or something, or the other guy comes out, and you're kind of like, oh no, what do I do? So it's kind of like a slightly dangerous thing. I personally almost never draft weather because I think weather's a little bit of a gamble on a week-to-week basis. It's very matchup dependent, depending on whether they have some kind of weather change as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to draft a weather team, this is one of the best I've seen. I think this team's really, really good.
This is super interesting because post-Grace went Sun. During the polling period, Sun and Rain got repolled. They got boosted from 9 to the point were both in 100.
Yeah, they went up to 150.
150. And then in the PBO, both of our Sun teams have gone 0-7 and 3-4. So now you have the guy who went undefeated in Kalos going up into Unova, running a Sun team.
Yeah,
which is super interesting to watch how this pans out.
It's going to be interesting to see for sure. I think Sun is, like I said, a gamble on a week-to-week basis. You're always rolling the dice on what they have on their team. What if they have something that stops like Sun dead in its tracks? But like if you were to run Sun, this is how you run it. In my opinion, this is the best because no one drafted Sun, so like you couldn't get sniped in the grace period because you just do all your Pokemon instantly. So you could just pick up all the Sun Pokemon, all the Pokemon that benefit from Sun because no one drafted them. The guy who drafted Walking Wake dumped it instantly. So it's like you get Walking Wake, who's like the Sun Goat, the great Sun setter in this generation.
Yeah.
Or the great Sun abuser. And you go to town, and I think he did an excellent job of putting a team around Sun.
Which leads us into Pittsburgh.
Yep, we go to Pittsburgh.
Wait, he's doing the Lycanroc Dusk suspect test. Kingston Cleavors is very high in Lycanroc Dust for good reason. Harbor Falls ran it last season and did very well with it. He thought we should do a complex name for Lycanroc Dusk, which we'll find out if Lycanroc Dusk is a god with Terra. It's on the borderline.
What do you want a complex ban? Get rid of Terra, but keep it in orange, or put it even lower.
Yeah. It was, and that's where the whole Terra tax and all that came in. It was maybe next season we can look at that, but Lycanroc Dust suspect test got taken on both Kalos and Unova, and both got put as Terra captain. So very interesting to watch. And just one thing to point out: Trevenant in the blue tier. I'm telling you, watch out for Trevenant.
I think Trevenant's very, very good. I think it's Tropius-esque. Both have Harvest, both Leech Seed.
And the spin blocks,
yeah.
Which is nice.
Giga Drain versus Horn Leech. Horn Leech is actually better. Trevenant's stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Trevenant doesn't get Dragon Dance, so we won't be seeing a Trevenant sweep, maybe, unless he runs like I don't know if he gets Bulk Up. Or I think he gets Swords Dance. Swords Dance Trailblaze Trevenant, maybe? Swords Dance Trailblaze Horn Leech Poltergeist. That could be cool. I will say, I don't love the team. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty decent. I don't love Corviknight as a red. I think it's a Pokemon it's like a glue Pokemon. So it pivots and it can defog and it can roost and stuff. But I don't know how much it does for you. Maybe he'll run Bulk Up Body Press. His main attackers are Lycanroc Dusk, Mamoswine. He's got Meloetta. I think Meloetta is much better with Terra, but obviously he Terra'd the Lycanroc Dusk. Rabambi's cool. He gets his Sticky Webs up. That makes his Lycanroc Dusk even more threatening because it can set up it can outspeed more things. Typhlosion, Sticky Webs Eruption. You know what I mean? That could be good. Mamoswine is base 80 speed, so Sticky Webs helps that. Goodra, really strong, but kind of on the slower slide, I think also base 80. This is an overall fast team. I think his slowest guy is Trevenant. But it's
Easily.
like... what'd you say?
Oh, you were saying slowest guys, Trevenant.
Yeah, slowest guy is Trevenant.
Yeah, that was an easily.
Yeah, but like, it's not like it's like a team of a bunch of guys who like from base 80 speed to like base 110 ish, like in that range. So speed control, speed control can still help this team reach like an even higher, like outspeed the 120s. You know what I mean? Because Rabambi's his fastest guy at like 121, I think, or 123, something like that. I think this team's... It's got no recovery. There's no Pokemon on this team other than Corviknight. He's going to be relying on Corviknight to take a lot of hits. So if someone has like a super strong fire type or electric type, he's kind of like, what do I do? A little bit. Because Corviknight is taking a lot of hits because it's the only Pokemon that can not take permanent damage. Unless he's running like Life Dew Goodra. Goodra does get knockoff and Scald now, which is nice.
Oh, shit.
So... Like, you could run, like, Knockoff, Scald, Life Dew, Dragon Pulse Goodra, something like that, maybe. For, like, a wall, like a Spadef wall, and then physical defensive Corviknight, and maybe that Steel Dragon Core could be cool. Quillfish is a wall, obviously. It can't run a Violite like its brother can, because it doesn't have an evolution. I need to see Meloetta in action. I don't know how much of a believer I am in Meloetta. Same with Typhlosion. I don't know how much of a believer I am in Typhlosion. Although I do like Eruption a lot, especially with webs. And more Pico.
Yeah, Eruption is always a safe bet.
Yeah. More Pico gets Rapid Spin, and I believe that is his hazard control. That and Defog Corviknight, which is pretty decent. So, and this guy also has 10 points left still. So he could, make a trade or like exchange or some kind. What do you think of this?
Too bad. I mean, like I said, Lycanroc Dust just puts up a ton of pressure. I think is Custat Berry back?
Yes, it is now.
I mean, we saw the Endurostrat Custat Lycanroc with Marble Falls, and I think that tech was sick.
Was that illegal? I don't know.
At the time,
yeah,
I think it was Shredon didn't recognize it, and like I went to a lot of people, but I sent that game to. Ultimately, it didn't matter, but illegal, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I love the Bulk and Goodra Quillfish. Mamo going up against a snow team, maybe take advantage of it. While at the same time, just dishing out a ton of damage. Meloetta, interesting. Again, I don't know how sold I am on the old Relic Song thing. And just Meloetta in general with the typings, it's very weird. Rabambi for Sticky Webs is... I know you were high on Rabambi. You were super high on Rabambi. You're the one that got it put it into 150.
I was super high on Rabambi. I put it in 150.
For good reason.
Yeah, I think Rabambi's really, really... I think it's still OU right now. That's how good it is. Like, even at... Because, the drops happen after a month. So even after the month, like, it stayed in OU. So it got the usage. I think it will fall to probably like UU eventually, but I think Rabambi's really strong. It's a really fast fairy type, and it has a decent special attack stat. And I think it gets like the powders. So Rabambi slept on for sure.
Oh, and he is both the Mons who can change typings at will. Morpeko, Meloetta. How fun is that? So
yeah. So
we'll see, and we'll see how much that matters. As well, being able to change types like that.
Because I'm going to make a power ranking eventually, probably. And
yeah.
I don't know. This might be... I think this is one of the weaker teams, but I don't think it's bad. I'd like to be proven wrong. You know what I mean? I think...
He is coming from Kalos, so...
Yeah, I think this team could be good. He made the finals, so I know he's good at Pokemon battling.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Vancouver Valiants.
Now these are all of the new guys.
We're into the
from
new
here on
guys.
out. This is the new group of four.
The final four, the new four.
Which an amazing team from Vancouver.
I think this team's incredibly nasty. I think this team
it's an amazing team.
Composition wise, I think this is a top 3 team. I'd put it with Kingston, who he actually faces this week. So Kingston, him, and Nickets, I say, probably have, or Marble Falls, probably have my three favorite compositions. Um, the first thing that pops in to me, the Fairy Dragon Steel Core is exquisite. The Valiant, the Empoleon, the Salamence. Empoleon gets Roost now. That's huge. He has my main man, who I think basically won me the league last season, Slowbro Galar.
Yeah.
Slowbro Galar, my king, my goat. I brought him. I didn't bring him week one, and then I think I brought him and I lost that week, and I brought him I think every single week except one after that. I brought him all throughout the playoffs, every playoff game. He's so clutch. He can be physically defensive. It's like I said with Electros. He can be physically defensive, specially defensive with Assault Vest, physical attacker, or special attacker. Like 1 week I'm using, Shell Sidearm physical to two-hit KO a Florges with Calm Mind. And then in the finals, I'm throwing Sludge Bombs out to a Avalugg that's +6 defense to do half to it. It's such an incredibly versatile Pokemon. I think Slowbro Galar is so amazing. We got it boosted all the way to 200 points because of that.
Yeah, it got repulled. It was initially in 180, I think, around there, 180, 170.
It was 160. It was the lowest.
It was 160. And then they got repulled because it was like, I think it's too low. And then shot 200 in the repull.
I wanted it to be 180, but I think that's what I put as 180. But 200 is respectable too. I still think it's good value. I think it's decent value at 200 because I still think it's really good. This thing, you can make it wall anything as long as you put the right EVs in, is what I figured out last season. So you can make it do it. It doesn't get, if this thing got chilly reception, it would be so nice, but it doesn't. It doesn't have teleport anymore. But I ran Assault Vest probably like 6 times. Assault Vest is really nice, just the coverage. It gets Power Gem. I ran Power Gem against Talonflame, I think. It gets Flamethrower, Psychic coverage, Poison coverage. It gets Ice Beam. All the coverage you could want. Whatever you want, it's got. So I think it's a really nice Pokemon. What do you think of
What's
his
up?
other guys?
The rest of his team?
Yeah.
This team looks super offensive. This team, like Silver Galar, can take obviously like all the hits at once with regen, and it's time to see the hype with Terra Torterra.
Yep.
Groundwater Electric. This thing better go crazy, or else it will be so overpriced. I mean, with Shell Smash, a Headlong Rush, you can run it defensively if you wanted to. I mean, Drifblim's not taking hits very well. Zangoose was
Drifblim,
maybe be green tier. So
Drifblim, I got in season 3 of that draft. I got sniped on Drifblim. I wanted it so bad. Drifblim can take some hits if you EV it correctly because it gets Strength Sap. So you really only need to take one if you want to get physically defensive. You really only need to take one hit and then you can Strength Sap. And it also can like run Thunder Wave and Hex, and it also gets Defog, which is really huge. It's a really nice hazard removal guy. You run Boots, you can get rid of items. He also has Cryogonal to get rid of items, and Cryogonal's really fast, which is a...
Does it get spin?
It does get spin. It gets rapid spin.
That's crazy.
And
then Murkrow for Prankster?
Yeah, Murkrow gets
Is that pretty much
it? It can Tailwind if he wants to get some speed, potentially.
Empoleon, and the thing about this team is that all these mons will come at least once. Like, no mon goes unused.
Yeah, all these mons are good. He doesn't have a bad Pokemon. Zangoose, I think Zangoose, put the smackdown on Klefki last season, so Zangoose is good. Zangoose with Toxic Orb is a huge threat. You know what I mean?
That's all it knows how to do is use Toxic Orb.
Yep. Salamence can be... I'm a big proponent of Salamence in draft. It can be offensive or defensive, like Intimidate, Spadaf, and take both sides. You just have to make sure you're not taking ice moves. As long as you're not taking ice moves, your Salamence can be a really nice defensive wall. I don't think... No, it does. It does get Roost. Salamence gets Roost. Yeah. So that's huge. It can be a wall. It can also be Dragon Dance. It could also be a special attacker. It's very versatile. You can run Flamethrower or Fire Blast. Valiant, we all know how good Valiant is. Any Valiant
Yep.
set is pretty much viable. It can run any move.
First overall.
Yep. First, physical or special, it can run moves. Empoleon's a really nice wall. Doesn't get defogged, but does get Roost now. Gets competitive. Arcanine can be, again, another Pokemon that can be a wall or offensive. Probably going to be a wall more often than Salamence is, because I think Arcanine's best in draft as a wall, personally. An Intimidator. But he has a double Intimidate core, too, with Salamence and Arcanine, which is really, really nice. So if he's running those two in conjunction with, like, an Assault Vest Slowbro Galar, he can take hits from, like, anything that kind of comes his way, and then he can find the right opportunity to bring in Valiant and get some chip. I think this team's really strong. If I had to... I think this is a top 3 team in terms of just draft. Do you have anything to add about it?
No, the more I realize, looking at just like it's this team is so bulky, and you can just dish out offense in such a clean and safe way. I just don't. Getting a play on Intro Terra is really funny. Imagine he gets Infernape and used all of his points and got 10 Mons with it. Looking at this, you would not think all of this would only add up to 10 Mons. But Vancouver, first overall in the draft, getting Valiant. I'm just excited to see what he does with the rest of the season.
He only has 1 red tier Mon. He's the only guy at 10 with 1 red tier, I think. Because he drafted, I think, 3 orange and 3 yellow.
Which is...
I think it worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah. I mean, if I was playing, that's what I would have done. 1 red and the rest amongst orange and yellow, which leads us
to Sunnyside
Suicunes. Who?
So, by their own admission, is running Stall.
Shit, dude. Yeah. Garg, Cress, Sylveon, Tinglu, Weezing. Need I add more? I'm surprised the Bellybolt didn't leave in Grace. I thought the Bellybolt was a mean pick. Yeah, and then has Articuno for some godforsaken reason, but we'll get to when we get there.
Yeah, so obviously the first thing that comes to mind, Hazard Control, Cinderace, I think, is the only one. I don't know if Bird, Deer, or Articuno get defog. I don't think Bombardier does. I would have to check on Articuno.
I'll check on...
Maybe I think Weezing gets defog, actually, because I know Galarian Weezing does. So he has 2 Hazard removal, potentially. But one of them is Cinderace. And Court Change is cool. What I worry about with Court Change is them setting up spikes, and then, like, you throw them all back at him, and then they just set him up again. You know what I mean? Because then you really haven't gotten rid of the hazards. Because if they have a
Articuno does get defog.
Yeah. All right. So he can defog. So there's that. He has no rapid spinner, so he have to get rid of hazards on all sides of the floor. He has a really bad, and I guess this is kind of the thing that comes with Stall, because I think I have this team here somewhere. That's the Corviknight team, Dragapult. Here it is. So do you see this that I have open here?
Let me look. Yep.
All right. So these are his speed tiers. Do you see this gap? This 30-point gap or this 29-point gap?
I'm looking at somewhere in this is a trick room, right?
Yeah. You could trick room, but his team actually isn't that slow. It's just he has a massive, massive gap between Cinderace and Lilligant, and I don't even know how often Lilligant's going to come. So it's really between Cinderace and Cresselia, and I don't know how often Cresselia is running max speed. So the question is, how much EVs do you give up to, like, their defense, the opponent's defenses, or, like, letting them be adamant or whatever, because your team doesn't have, like, any speed? You know what I mean? Like, what if an opponent just says, I don't care about outspeeding Cinderace. Let's make our guys, like, max attack, adamant, all, and, like, banded and stuff like that. Or, like, you know, you put a bunch of HP and, you know, Spadaf or defense EVs, depending on who you're trying to wall. And you have, like, almost no speed because you know you're going to outspeed all their guys anyway. That's what I'm scared of. You know, like, when you have to... The thing you have to be outspeeding is Bombardier at, like, base 82. Because maybe Articuno. But...
I mean, do any of these guys duo with Scarf? Like realistically, any of them?
Bombardier could be Scarf.
Oh dear. Oh yeah.
I
Lilligan.
Willigan would probably be Quiver
Uh,
Dance.
yeah, we could that. Uh,
But I imagine the team on a week-to-week
um,
basis is going to be Guard, Crest, Sylveon, Cinderace, Ting Lu, and then a sixth. I don't like almost any of his
low tier.
these low tier guys. I think Birdier is kind of mid. It can be kind of strong if you're running Banded. I think Lilligan
Yeah.
is like
During the draft, we did get some oohs and ahs with the Bombardier pick, and I was like, I don't know what we're oohing and ahhing about. This one looks like
I
dog
think
water.
like it can run
And
Rocket
Fion.
Payload. I think
And Fion,
although it's his only water.
he wants to show that Fion with Take Heart is good.
Yeah.
So let's see it.
Yeah, we'll see Fion with Take Heart. It could be good. Articuno, I think, is decent. Weezing's pretty decent. Like Bellybolt is pretty. I think Bellybolt's underrated. I think he should bring Bellybolt a lot. Probably that's probably his sixth guy most of the time. He still has 10 points left. Maybe he could go to the draft board and look at bring Bombardier up to a 90 pointer or Bellybolt up to a 120 or something like that. So he stops hazards with Garg. Fion can't be hazard because it has Take Heart. So he can't get Toxic Stalled necessarily. I worry a little bit, and Cresselia is always going to be very threatening with Calm Mind and Stored Power and all that. It's never bad. I worry that the stall is going to get taken advantage of a little bit, for sure. That's definitely a big worry of mine. What do you think?
I'm looking at, like you said earlier, Rocks. Oh, no, sorry, yeah, Rocks. I don't think he'll be switching a lot. Well, actually, he might be if there's a lot of offensive pressure on the team.
Yeah,
you don't really want any of these mons to set up because they can. Echo, Body Press, Crest, Calm Mind, Moonlight, Swimming, Wish passing into any mon you really want. Bombardier, Lilligant, like his low tier picks. I'm not too worried about Weezing. Not too worried about Bellybolt. You said it's underrated. I have no idea what it does. So let's find out.
It can run Scald, I think. It gets Scald, it gets Volt Switch. If it gets hit by a move, it's stronger. So it gets Slack Off. So it can be like a wall. It's like another stall mon, kind of. And not necessarily stall. Like, you can still do big chip. It's like a chipper kind of guy.
And Ting and Cinderace are both just... I mean, Cinderace for the speed and Ting Lu just to annoy your opponents.
Yeah, to set up hazards, I guess. And, yeah. Like, you can...
low special attack.
Yeah. I think it's a decent stall team. I definitely worry about
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a stall team in the PBO yet, so let's find out how well it does with Sunnyside.
A fighting type comes in, and he's so he goes Cress, right? But a lot of fighting types have dark coverage, so maybe he goes Sylveon. But I feel like a fighting type with decent coverage could really mess this team up. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a ghost, and he can't Terra Ghost.
Yeah, and he only drafted Crest so that no one else drafted Crest, which respect it, but maybe he could have gone a different route.
Terra Crest
so we'll see how well he does.
With Electric,
Terra Crest is good.
Yeah, and with Electric, it has no weaknesses theoretically.
I want to move on to Charleston, though.
Charleston.
Just to give you a quick break. Here we go. Dragon and Ghost. Spin Blocker, Steel Fairy. There's your core right there. Grounded Poison type size will get rid of the Toxic Spikes. And a Fire type built into that. But boss, this thing is going to have fucking Stakeout. You're not going to want to switch. It's probably going to be Banded. You're not going to want to switch into a Mabostiff. And it can't really take a hit. So, Poliwrath, I don't know if it really pairs well with anything on this team. He has Hippowdon for set of Sand, defensive type, set of Rocks, Slack Off. I don't know if it gets Toxic. Masquerade for the webs. Thunderous Eye drop pretty far from what I know. Nasty Plot, Thunderous Eye. Scary. There's not a lot of looking for hazard control when I look at these mons, but that's why he went Espeon for Magic Bounce. So that's always exciting to know. And when we get some Medicham, just pure power, exactly what I said, pure power along with the ability, insane. And Kamala can't be slept, so that's cool. And judging from talking to this guy in DMs and being in a call with him, dude knows ball. He knows mons.
Yeah, I think
so. From all the newcomers, I think this guy, from personal, just knows what he's doing.
Yeah, from the new guys, this guy I think got the furthest in the tournament we did, the random battle one, and he does seem to, from what I've seen, know the most. The team is full of Pokemon that I don't use very often, so I might be a little out of, like, Dragapult's obviously amazing, right? And Dragapult fell to 4 because I think Ogerpon got drafted, and I think
yes,
who was the other?
I mean, Valiant, Ogerpon, and
it was the guy with 2.
Kingston got whatever he got. I forgot what did Kingston draft?
Excalibur.
Pax. So
yeah, so Dragapult falls to him. Yeah, I think this team is good, just not for me personally. Like, I don't think Tinkaton's very good, but I know it can be good at times. I think it's kind of weak, but it gets Thunder Wave, it gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Knockoff. It's nice support. Salazzle is it's very annoying. Corrosion. You can toxic literally anything you want. There's no way to stop it, unless they're already toxic. It can be a flamethrower. Salazzle always messes people up if they don't properly prep for it. I think second or third place in Kalos had Salazzle last season, and they ran like sub disable or something like that. That was pretty cool.
They ran a ton of different tech with Salazzle.
Yeah,
they ran so many different sets.
Salazzle excels at being annoying, for sure. I don't love using Salazzle, and I hate going against it, I guess is the best way to put it. But I do respect it as a threat, for sure. Mabostiff, from what I've seen, is super underrated. Terra Dark.
Oh, yeah.
Terra Dark Crunch.
That's what he was telling us.
I think this thing will get a lot of kills. I think it'll be very, very strong. Terra Electric.
It's Lash Out.
Yeah, it gets Lash Out. I don't know what Terra Electric is for necessarily, but I'm sure he has a plan with it. Poliwrath, he's probably running like defensive Poliwrath most of the time because the offensive one wants rain. So he's probably running like I think he gets Scald. At least it used to. I don't know. Did Politoed get stalled, right? So I'd say Poliwrath gets Scald as well.
Yeah, let me check.
You could run like Circle Throw, Rest. You could run Bulk Up.
Circle Throw. Let me check. Politoed, Scald, and Politoed does get Scald, yes.
Yeah, so then Poliwrath should get Scald if Politoed gets Scald.
Poliwrath, Cerebi, looking up, Control F, Scald. Yeah, it does. You are correct.
So it's going to be throwing out Scalds, that kind of thing. You could run Bulk Up Physical. Oh, that could be cool. Drain Punch and stuff like that. Hippowdon, nice wall. Very Hippowdon's like the standard of like pure ground. It's fat. It sets up rocks. You know what it does. You know what I mean? That's what Hippowdon's known for.
There's not a lot of different movesets you can run with Hippowdon.
Yeah, I mean, you could run the Fangs for coverage. Like if you're coming up against Gliscor, here's the map, dude. Probably run Ice Fang. I think it gets Ice Fang. Probably run Ice Fang against my Gliscor, I imagine, if you want to be cute. Although it probably won't even, because like
it gets Whirlwind.
If he's running like no attack, I imagine if I have like a defensive Gliscor, Ice Fang probably wouldn't even do half. So I don't even know if it's worth it. But you could run like Fire. I think he gets all the Fangs. Maybe not Thunder because he's a ground type. But the Fang coverage. Masquerain. Masquerain's scary. It gets Intimidate. It's probably the second best, or no, now third, because Ribombee, Vikavolt, Masquerain. It's probably the third.
That's why, yeah.
It's probably the third best
here.
Sticky Webber.
Thunderous. What is code? Yeah. Keep going.
Thunderous Eye is very, very strong. Very threatening.
Very.
Espeon is, yeah, it can set up. Without Terra, it's a little bit worse for sure. But it can set up Calm Minds. It can Draining Kiss. It can, set up screens for you if you want. I was in a league where the Espeon set up screens, and then, it died, and he went to Annihilate, and he was trying to sweep with Annihilate, and that made a lot of sense. I think Medicham is very risky, because I'm assuming you're going... it gets close combat, but I'm assuming you're going for high jump kick.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Terra fighting high jump kicks. I think Medicham can potentially be good. I don't fully... I don't feel too strongly one way or another about how good Medicham is. I think Mabostiff would probably be the one I would bring. I think Mabostiff's like his main Terra guy, and that's why he drafted it first. And then Medicham's like another option. And Komala gets Rapid Spin, so that's why it's there.
Oh, cool.
Sometimes you can just tell, because he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner, and I think in Grace he picked up Komala, and it's because he gets Rapid Spin. If you don't have a Rapid Spinner, you seek one out, pretty much.
And if Kamal's all you got, then
yeah,
that's all you got. Which leads us into Scarborough Subtiles, our final team.
Yep. And this
one... Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay about it. It's got
I'm looking at it.
Moon. It's got Enamours. And I was like, okay, that's a really good dragon and a really good fairy. That can get you pretty far. It's got Moltres, who I feel good about. It has Ditto, who I think Ditto is super... I guess not underrated anymore. Super valuable. It's like... It's a big don't set up on me sign. That's what Ditto is. And I really appreciate that. I think Fortress is... got the world on his shoulders on this team. I think it's his Hazard Stacker, it's his Hazard Remover, the only one, I think. Fortress is trying to... He's Atlas right now. He's trying to carry the world on his shoulders. He's coming every week. He's times 4 week to fire. I think that's a dangerous position to be in. You know what I mean?
Would you put everything into one mon? When one mon does everything you want it to?
When one mon is your main support system. You could run Spike's Quag as well, but Fortress is probably your rocker, I imagine. Fortress is probably your spinner, because I don't think anything else here gets... Yeah, I don't see one. I don't think anyone else here gets anything. Chimecho gets Wish, and Chimecho gets Heal Well, which is cool.
That's cool. We'll see if Chimecho comes.
And it gets Levitate as well.
Chimecho will come before Scavillion.
I think Scavilion's bad.
Or Scavillion.
Yeah. He's not allowed to run Moody, correct? We banned that.
Yep, can't run Moody.
Yeah, Scavilion's bad. We'll see if it gets any... Maybe again, does he play... If he plays the Sun guy, he could run Chlorophyll, like Choice Specs or something. And that could be nice or interesting in some way, somehow. I think Moltres is good. Moltres gets a bunch of burns. That's cool. You know what I mean? Because Flame Body, and it can Roost, and it can U-turn. Quag's good. I think he should be bringing Enamours, Fortress, Ditto, Quag, Roaring Moon, and Moltres most weeks, if I had to be completely honest about it.
Yeah.
I don't love having Dragalge while having Roaring Moon. You know what I mean?
I don't... It's two really big dragon weaknesses on your team. I mean, I know you have a dam, but...
So this team has a ice problem. He has no ice resist, because Sneasel isn't an ice resist, other than Fortress. Fortress resists ice. So you bring Fortress in on powerful ice moves. You're bringing it in to deal with other steel types, probably. Fortress has a lot on it. You know what I mean? Fortress is he's the guy on this team. He has to be the man.
Yeah, maybe he could have Terra Fortress if he wanted to.
It would have been hard, because I don't even think Fortress is super good, but on this team in particular, I think it's like a kind of a Pokemon that is just... It fits perfectly into what he needs for a lot of things. I think maybe Dragalge he could drop for someone eventually, because now he's got Toxicroak, who's a poison type, and Roaring Moon, who's a dragon type, right? So then my question is, what does Dragalge do? Set up Toxic Spikes? I think Fortress can do that. If you really wanted Toxic Spikes. I don't fully understand the use
Yeah,
case for Dragolji.
I guess he just wanted another, just a wall.
Let's see if I can find this team. I think I have. Yeah, here it is. So this team is pretty fast. Roaring Moon 119, Sneasel 115. He has nothing in the 120s, which is unfortunate. Enamorous 106. I think it's a team that could work. We might be looking like we could be looking like in a few weeks like, oh, this team's actually really good. If I think Roaring Moon is underrated right now. It gets knockoff now. Choice Band is really good. I think this guy wants to face the Sun team, and bring Roaring
Is that
Moon.
is that his week one? Is the Sun team?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Is
Let
Marble
me check.
Falls and Scarborough?
Do.
They're in the black. Yeah. Marble Falls, Worcester, no. So
No, it's not. Scarborough faces the Agrons week 1. That's a tough matchup for sure.
yeah. Well, welcome to the PBO moment, perhaps.
Yeah. I think this team can work. All the pieces are there. He's got the Fairy, Dragon, Steel Core. He's got the Grass, Fire, Water. He's got the Grounded Poison. He's got the Dark. He's got everything is there. He's got a Spinner. Everything's there. Everything's correct. It's.
I don't want to say this feels like a worse version of the Nickets team where you look at it's like this is a good draft, but it just doesn't. Something about the team feels
a little off.
Less.
Yeah, a little less.
When you look at I don't know. I feel like all these ones should have synergy, but none of them I feel like do. But there's some Sneasel tech I'm missing. There's some Dunksacroak tech I'm missing.
Yeah, Sneasel
because I don't see these mons in use besides the high tiers.
Yeah.
Besides Moonquag, Ditto, Fortress, and Enam, I don't see the rest of these mons.
Yeah.
I don't see these mons getting played. And
I think
Moltres you have to run boots on. Like, Jesus.
I mean, I think if he dropped Dragalge and picked up here, maybe I'll give him some free unsolicited advice that doesn't need to be followed. Let's go to the 140 point value and look at Jolteon maybe. Fast Electric. That could be good.
Oh, okay.
Rotom-Mow, because his grass type is Scovillain. That could be good. Umbreon. I think Umbreon... Is Umbreon undrafted?
Yeah.
He should go pick up Umbreon.
Umbreon was taken in Kalos, not Unova.
Yeah. Umbreon being undrafted is pretty crazy. Umbreon or like one of those electric types, because he doesn't have an electric, right? Yeah, no, he doesn't. Like Jolteon here for the speed, or Rotom-Mow could be cool. That's like unsolicited advice. Obviously, he doesn't have to follow that. But I think this team could work for sure. But as of right now, I have to see it in action to believe it fully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So
and that I think should conclude. Do you want to say any closing statements, or leave everything else to a separate vid?
I'll conclude with some things that I think are the stronger teams. I like Nickit a lot. I like Minior a lot. I like Vancouver Valiance a lot. And I like Shadows. Those are probably the 4 that I like the most. I don't know the order exactly yet. I'll probably do a power ranking and put them in an order. But if I had to pick 4 that I think stand slightly above at the moment, those would be the 4 I would pick personally. And I think Charleston Chestnut is good, although personally not for me. The Mons aren't for me personally. Those are probably the guys I would shout out with having super excellent drafts, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Unova conference got the skill. The skill has gone up
for sure, definitely.
Significantly.
The drafts this season are much better than last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot more points, no more forced 11, allowing people, that's a fun thing to look at. That's what I'm going to take note on, and during the season is, first of all, what teams went 10 versus 11, and then there's another one I'm going to keep track of. But we get there, like there's a good balance.
It's
Oh,
almost half and half.
how many teams have blue Terras? Which not a lot.
Yeah, I have a
So
blue Terra, I think.
even that can't help the blue tier. But only two teams I think so far. It's Scarborough and Marble Falls have taken the blue free Terra route. So
I have one, but it's not. I didn't free it. I just made it electric.
oh yeah, there you go, three. So it's nice to see some teams choosing some blue tier Terras, and I like how it's not all into orange, all into yellow. It's nice to see a lot of variation from the Terra captains and how teams go about it.
Yeah, I think overall the teams are. We have increased in quality in the teams this season.
For sure.
They're much
For sure.
scarier. There's more freedom in your options because there's more points as well. Last season you couldn't dream of seeing. You could barely squeeze out 2 reds, let alone 3.
I mean, have you? And then you see Kingston's.
Yeah, and now Kingston's rocking 3 reds. I think 2 orange. Yeah, 3
Yeah.
reds, 2
What was the
orange.
one guy that had the 4 reds or something? It was insane.
Yeah, I don't know who had 4 reds. He has 3.
Or someone.
And then he also has Greninja, who's basically, he's 10 points off from red value.
Oh,
But
Klefki's Garchomp,
Garchomp, yeah, he had 3. Heatran and
Clefable,
And
then Greninja bordering.
Yeah. It's definitely it's going to be a wild ride for sure. I think the teams are good. We have a sun team. We have a snow team. We kind of have 2 snow teams, really. Kind of 3,
Yeah.
honestly. Right, Norwalk with Alola Ninetales, and then also Kingston Shadows. This is a snow core, Slowking into backs.
It is.
So I think it'll be cool to see which of those snow teams ends up being the best. I have a sneaking feeling this core will end up being the best core just because it's a crazy strong snow thing. But overall,
Lead us out or
I'll lead
close
us
it
out.
out.
Overall, good drafts all around. I don't think anyone really tanked completely. I think everyone has a chance to win with their team if they play correctly. Everyone has different play styles. I appreciate Soaring Flying for being here for this analysis.
I'm just here, ball. I'm just here to maybe say some things to hear some funny quips every now and again.
Yep, I think this went pretty well overall. I'll probably put out a power ranking sometime this week, hopefully before the first game starts. The games start Wednesday, correct?
Wednesday morning.
Yeah, hopefully there's no one decides to do a game Wednesday, and I can probably put out a video Wednesday for power, because I want to do pre-draft power rankings. Hopefully that can get out fast. And then or not pre-draft, week 1, pre-battles. Or I could just not watch the battles before I do it.
Yeah.
And then because I don't make the battle videos week 1, I make them week 2 based on the thing we put out. All right. That's all, everyone. See you next time. Peace.
Bye bye.